Hello and welcome. This is Alchemistexe, and this is the weekly update for March 11th, which is coming out on March 12th, which I apologize. It's been a busy week. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to lie to you. I probably could have gotten the video out yesterday, but I used that time to watch the Alchemist Code movie because I was raising Kasumi and I was just really curious. I will say that maybe it's not a good movie, but it definitely was entertaining. Especially my favorite thing, Rustberg and Lastalis. Beautiful, beautiful translation. Otherwise, pretty good adaptation though, because like it was fairly faithful. I imagine anyone who had like tried to watch that movie that didn't know the lore would be, oh my god, it would be incomprehensible. But yeah, so speaking of the movie, and its licensing, we now have access to Kasumi. We thought, collectively as a fan base, that we would never get her, and so this is a pleasant surprise. I mean, we kind of knew once she was on the monthly update picture, but I just mean overall. And she's a very, very easy unit to get, very, very easy unit to raise because pretty much everything is handed to you. Now, granted, she's not going to be amazing. She's a light support unit that can do a couple of interesting things, but she's got to quicken herself and ally, which is always awesome. But yeah, super easy to get. You just do this one level and you'll get a bunch of stuff, including her as a unit. Then there's this challenge board where all you have to do is beat a bunch of the bosses from Dark Phantoms and a couple of the normal levels. And then you've got another 150 of her shards and the totems for her enlightenment. So make sure that you do this challenge board because her enlightenment totems are unique to her. So once this is gone, you can't get them. But yeah, speaking of other challenge boards, there's also one for Reimei. You can get him and 150 of his shards for free. I won't call him amazing, but I'd call him decent. I'd say it's if you don't have him, especially if you're newer, it's definitely worth your time to get that. So as far as the White Day event goes, it is much like the Valentine's event where you get coins and then you use those coins to buy the tokens and the equipment pieces for Ankh for his job plus. Nothing too crazy. Just once you're done getting the milestones, you should have plenty. And the only thing I will say is that for this hell level, for if you're trying to auto repeat, make sure that your units have a lot of HP, because the AI is not good at staying off of damage panels. And definitely not its specialty. So I would just try and solve that problems with just massive amounts of HP. If you have like an HP 60 or 70% memento leader skill, that could help if it's otherwise difficult. Nothing that the Veda Templars couldn't solve. But yeah, otherwise there's been a few changes to some of the prizes in the Dark Phantoms event, where you can get extra shards of Kasumi and extra copies of her memento. But I'm not sure anyone really needs that. You should get plenty of shards from the login bonuses and the challenge boards. So I wouldn't feel too pressured to grind that out if you're constrained for time. Because, you know, we've already got Genesis dungeon quests going as well. So plenty of things that your AP and your event skip tickets could just get sucked into. So yeah, all in all, pretty full week. Did I not mention Plumeria? I did not mention Plumeria. She's also a new unit, but she's normal pool. So I would hold off on summoning for her unless she's like your number one character or something, because you could just 100% get her for free. She should get a normal hard quest within a few months. Probably think 3 months is usually the standard. You can buy her shards in the shop if you're in a hurry. You can also buy with real money 100 of her shards. It seems like those bundles kind of went extinct, but I guess since she's normal pool, they didn't feel a need to restrict that. I wouldn't do that personally, but you know, everybody's different. So yeah, that's it for the content. There's definitely a decent amount of stuff to do between all the things that can be farmed. I definitely recommend Ankh's Job Plus. I don't always get the Job Plus just right out of the gate, but this time I did just because I like the Gun Lancers. But I will say this, don't use Gerald as a basis for comparison because he's not Gerald. Like, he's good. He can do a couple really cool things, like a big multi-hit that can crit. And he's got good stats, but Gerald is broken. And I wouldn't call Ankh broken. I just call him great. There's one more thing I didn't mention. The Dark Phantom Selector. So yeah, pretty self-explanatory. I imagine a lot of you probably already used it by the time this video is posted, but if you haven't, you can get a Dark Phantom for free. They're a little bit outdated overall, except maybe Dark Atama in terms of pure utility, but they do have rate damage for bosses, so if you need to increase your damage, that can help. Although there's certain units like Soul or Nero, Emrys, that could probably out damage them just by sheer stats and modifiers. But, you know, it is nice to get free units regardless. I'm going to pick Dark Zane because he's the only one that I don't have. The only reason I haven't done it yet is because I can only do it once, and if I botch the recording, then I can't show it off. But yeah, so that I think that really is it for content. So it's time to move on to the banners. Okay, so for the first one, we have a paid summon for 100 soul shards for 10 5-star units, and you can redraw up to 3 times. This is okay. I'd say it depends on your overall spending level. If you're on the higher end, then this is probably appealing. If you're on the lower end, I'd maybe not do this banner, just because it's kind of risky, but you never know. If you have the more limited units like Genesis, like Founding Alchemist, the hardest types of units to get shards for, the more of those you want/need, the more appealing this banner is going to be. If it's a small pool of units that you really want those shards for, then I wouldn't do it, because, you know, the odds of getting something good, pretty high. Odds of getting the exact thing that you want, pretty low. Then we got another one that I don't recommend this just because there's a normal pool memento in there for Ankh. Even though I do think this memento is good, I don't think it's paid gem good. And then I imagine for a lot of people, Kevin and Blair's probably not worth it for them. And then for Reimei, it's a good memento, but a lot of people maybe don't want to invest in him because his damage is not going to be crazy. You do get a relief with it, but I don't think that's enough to turn the tide. Then we have a banner I don't recommend at all because all 3 are normal pool. At present, Ankh and Reimei are farmable, just normal 3 times a day. Plumeria will be in time. So definitely not worth your gems. Then we have 2 more that are unlimited for the Dark Phantoms. I don't recommend this at all. I mean, we literally got one of them for free. And I imagine most people aren't going to need more than one, you know, assuming they don't have other ones. So say you didn't have any, you chose Dark Atama for his utility, and you want to get shards of his. I think that the 9-step would be a better choice there, just because you could do as many steps. You know, if you want to do 2 steps for 1,000 gems and just get another 25 shards with the possibility that you might get another 100 shards. Oh, use the selector before you do any of these because you want to get that 100 shard bonus if you pull a duplicate, if you care that much. That's if Dark Phantoms are considered worth your gems. So if you're like a meta chaser, don't do this. If you really like the Dark Phantoms, they're some of your favorite units, then maybe be worthwhile. But it's a good way to get shards that are otherwise very rare. Just whether that rarity is worth it to you is the real question. Then we have a 7-step enlightenment for Phantom of the Kill, as Phantom of the Kill is kind of on its way out this week. It's not great because you're not guaranteed any 5 stars the way a lot of these 7 steps are, but it is good in terms of the sheer amount of coins that you can get. So I would say that if you've got one of the God Killers or Lisa Knot, or one of the actually no, not really, I'd say just them, get the coins and buy the shards with it to enlighten them. I don't remember if you can buy Otherworldly Enlightenment in the coin shop, because you could also buy those out. But yeah, so it depends. If you got that, then this could be worth your while. Otherwise, for most people, I don't think it's worth it for them. Another banner that is only going to be good if you're like very, very new and you still need lots of normal pool units, I'd say do the 500 and that's it. But otherwise, these units are farmable. Then we have a kind of interesting one. This is probably the most interesting banner of the bunch. Doesn't mean it's a must pull, but it is interesting. So it's all female mementos. And at the end, you can get guaranteed limited, as well as enough reliefs to max limit break it. So if you are desiring a lot of mementos for female units, it could be worth it. But just keep in mind that that one limited, it is going to be a risk. You could get something that you don't particularly want. You could get Uzuma's limited memento, or maybe Berta's limited memento. I actually like Berta quite a bit, but if you're hoping for something meta, then keep in mind that it is a risk. But it might be worth a couple of steps if there's a lot of female mementos that you want to get. And then finally, of the new banners, there is the much more typical 9-step for the new mementos. So if you want Reimeis, if you want Ankhs, this is the way to do it. You might have to go to step 9 if that's worth it to you. But otherwise, it's spendy, it's reliable, and that's that. But then one thing that I would like to point out is there are still quite a few banners from last week. And if you have 2 discount tickets and you want to be able to guarantee yourself a Genesis Memento, you could do that with this banner. So I'd like to shout out to Dan in the comments, because he pointed out how cool this banner was in the last video. And this is what I ended up doing. I ended up pre-recording it, but I'll show you the results of what I got. So if you go to step 2, bare minimum, you can get one of these Genesis Mementos. So if nothing else on the list appeals to you, I would recommend this. So yeah, with that, I'm going to show you what I got in 2 steps of this banner. Okay, so time to do 2 steps of this one. Mostly Mira and Icona are the ones that I want the most, but I wouldn't mind like dupes of Julia or Minario. I don't really need Ambrosia's or Daphne's exactly. I don't know if I could use their VCRs or anything on anyone else, but I think there are 2 of them that I really want. 1,000 gems will guarantee one of them. I think that's worthwhile. Even if it doesn't go the way that I want, it's not a huge amount of gems. So as I mentioned earlier, it's pre-recorded, so I'm not going to be surprised by any of these results, but still I thought it'd be fun to share nonetheless. It's always fun to either commiserate in terrible pulls or share in the joy when it's good pulls. And there's something kind of relaxing when the stakes are low. Hey look, it's Ambrosia's memento, the one that I said I didn't need. But again, I need to check up on it. There might be somebody I could throw that on. Doubly so if the VCR is useful. Now the question is, that I already know the answer to, is will it change? And it did. And another Ambrosia memento. That's why I felt the need to share it, because it's ridiculous. What's better than getting 1 memento you don't need in a pull? Getting 2 of that same memento in a pull. But it's not over yet. We still got, at bare minimum, 1 more 5-star memento. If it's Ambrosia's memento again, I don't know how I'm going to react. Wait, this already happened, so I already know how I reacted. I'm going to spoil it for you. It wasn't Ambrosia's memento, so there's no need for anyone to go crazy. But the real question is, that I won't spoil, is it going to be Icona's or Mira's? So I like both of those fire ladies quite a bit. Maybe it's the redhead thing, but I would be down for either of them. Someday I'll have enough fire shards for Icona. And look at that. It was Mira's. So I would say that it was maybe not the best case scenario. That would have been both, but I'd say it's a good case scenario. And then I'm trying to remember, I don't think any of these yellow ones are going to change. So that was it for that. But yeah, pretty good banner overall. Just to be able to, anytime you can guarantee fairly limited resources like that. I don't even think that Mira's memento is particularly amazing. but it's nice to have. I do like that the VCR can give her a massive agility boost just to get the ball rolling early on. You don't always have to be pragmatic. I just really, really like Mira. I like both of the twins a lot. But yeah, so that is it for the weekly update. Hopefully all of you have good luck on your summons, and I will see you all next time.